Thank you, Steffi. Thank you for introducing us and for introducing this panel. And she's right, this is the place to be. And thank you for being here. And don't invest in AI, invest in your children. Esther, you have the first word. You're going to give us an impulse. This was your idea, so we want to know what is going on in your mind.
Okay, so first of all, to set the stage here, I'm human. And I flew in from California last night and got here late this morning. So I will be very human, and if I miss a few words, please forgive me. What happened was I was talking with Steffi, and I said I'm working on this article called "Don't Fuss About Training Your AIs, Train Your Babies." And the reason I came to that is I spent 25 years in the AI, well, in the tech business. I wrote about Doug Lennett and Danny Hillis and all these early pioneers of AI. Then I spent about 10 years working on body parts, if you like, in healthcare. You know, how do you help the kidneys, or this bit of you or that bit of you? And then finally, I started working on humans, working in a nonprofit for 10 years, helping 5 small communities become better places to raise children. And that's where this thinking comes from. We're not going to solve the problems of AI going rogue, because it goes rogue because of the people who code it. And so we need better people. We need people who are self-aware, who understand their own motivations, and who also understand the motivations of the people and institutions they're dealing with. You need to understand not just your own sugar metabolism, but business's money metabolism. And then you know how the world works, and you can, ideally, you think longer term, you're not so addicted to sugar and instant outcomes, and you work for a better world, and you can make the AI help make that happen, because AI is very powerful. It just needs to be run and developed by better humans. I have a lot to say about this. You know, the AI people should be here, and they should be worried about ethics and not just about business. But I have 2, thank you, yes. I have 2 extremely brief stories to end with. And the first is, I was talking with an engineer from Google 2 days ago about this sort of topic. He said, well, you know, AI, it's like, it can really help. I have engineers who are falling in love with their AIs, and they're very happy. And the second story, you can take that wherever you want. The second story is the movie Her, where somebody does fall in love with an AI. And for a while, he's sort of happy, but then he discovers the truth. And I, at least as the daughter of scientists, believe that the truth is important, understanding what's really going on. He understood suddenly, oh my God, she's got 1,500 other lovers. And what people need is not just love, but they need attention, and they need to be needed. She had 1,500 lovers. She didn't need him. And when he discovered that, it was the end of the movie.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Esther, for sharing your thoughts. And I'm very happy that we also have Neeru here. And Neeru is from CK12 Foundation. And I understand we have a video. Can we show the video?
Well, wait 1 second. I'd like to say something before the video,
yes.
Right? I completely understand where Esther's coming from. I have 4 children, and I love all my children. But I do believe that not every child has the same opportunities that my children have. I didn't have those opportunities. So for that, I started CK12 Foundation because I wanted to make sure that we can give every child the opportunity, the access, the ability to get what they needed. And when you think about anything that's new, technology, or a baby, think about a baby, human baby or an animal baby. They don't come into the world knowing what they should know. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort to train them, to show them how to do what you have to do, right? So anything nascent, and we've seen this for a long time now, when internet came along and everybody wanted to be part of that, the creator community. Similarly, the the AI bit is the same thing. It's about a nascent tool that we shouldn't, kind of say slang, kind of throw it away because it's not human. We teach our children to have those, like Esther says, we need to teach them what's human, how to be humans, right? So I want to make sure you understand what we created over the last 15 years was long before AI came along. We were building on the foundations of learning. And the fact that we cannot have small classrooms, they cost a lot. We don't have the money to give that kind of opportunity to every child. So I want you to understand, to scale, everything we offer, by the way, is free, and everything that people need to know about learning should be accessible at their level, at their speed. So I want to make sure you understand how this project came around. 15 years, 16 now, we've been creating this so that we can make it so that every child can participate. By getting the knowledge, by learning, we can teach them. We can tell them where they're going wrong. So I was supposed to have a clicker to start the video. I don't see it. Can someone please?
Don't know where. Start it.
Access to help, but also not just giving me answers. I'd want to have help on the way to get there. I wouldn't want to just know. I wouldn't want to know how to get to the answer, not just the answer.
Explain it in steps, and not just tell me the answer directly.
Teach me it. Make me understand it better.
Be more not as complex. Be more a simple definition.
Translate different languages.
And I think it would be really cool if you could ask the tutor a question, and then it would give you a personalized answer.
Not give direct answers, but walk you through how to solve a problem, or explain to you certain answers instead of just giving it to you, and help you lead so you eventually get to the answer yourself.
I'm Flexi, CK12's AI tutor. I use artificial intelligence technologies combined with proven learning methods and CK12 materials to help you with your homework and assignments. It's as easy as that. A lot of students learn better when they hear the same concepts in different words. You play soccer, right? Why don't we use soccer as an analogy for photosynthesis? I'm always learning more about you, your interests, and your goals, so I can personalize my help. By the way, I can give you simpler or more detailed explanations based on your comfort level. I can even translate answers into different languages. How cool is that?
Yes, Flexi gives me a full understanding of how to solve the equation, and then it gives me a similar problem to try on my own.
You can answer my question, or if you still need help, I can break it down into sub-steps and walk you through it.
When we first started, I didn't know what to do, so then I asked him to help me out. I like how Flexi does, tells you about your homework and it helps you with your questions and stuff like that.
Great. So the question is, Esther, first you, Esther, then our second Esther. I have the question for you. Would you recommend this tool, Flexi AI, for your children and grandchildren?
Well, I don't know if, can you hear?
Yes.
Coming in.
I'm really happy that you showed the video and that it has students in it that you can see that look pretty happy, because I would strongly recommend this. Not only Flexi, but there's other AI out there that students need to use to learn what they want to learn. And what's going on is that the school districts and schools around the world are threatened by AI. And in fact, AI is like a helper for the teacher and a helper for the students, just like you saw in the video. It helps you learn. And so I would be using this in my classes as much as I could. So I can just give you an example of a crazy AI story. My granddaughter, who is 4, when she was 3, she thought that the Amazon, is it Alexis? Alexa. She thought Alexa was a real person, and it was her personal friend. And she went around the entire house asking questions all the time, and it answered. And we thought it was hilarious because she's like, who's your best friend? It's like, Alexa. And who is Alexa? Oh, she's on the phone all the time. And so, but I mean, of course, at some point she figured out Alexa wasn't real, but she learned a lot from this AI. And, you know, today, at the age of 4, she now is using other AI, 4 years old. So I teach high school students. And instead of me repeating myself over and over again, students can just use AI to help them learn what they need to learn. So yes, I would strongly recommend it. And also one other short story, and that is that I just remember years ago, most of you were probably still in diapers. I remember when the calculator was introduced in the schools. I don't know how many of you remember that. Like I said, you were probably still in the diaper. But school districts banned calculators. They're like, oh, this is the end of math. We're never going to be able to do anything because kids, all they need is a calculator. They won't have to learn how to add, subtract, or multiply, or whatever. And I remember kids were suspended from school for bringing a calculator. So school districts take a long time to, you know, get together with the new stuff. And of course, today we all have calculators. Not only that, we all have them in our phones. And so I think the same thing is kind of happening. You know, they're afraid of AI, but they shouldn't be.
Esther, would you, I mean, you said, you're the one who said train your babies and don't train
And
AI,
so
but we need better training
we need
for
both.
good AI, right?
Yeah, we need good AI, but what we also need, I mean, the most important original trainers, if you're lucky enough to have them, is good parents.
Yeah.
And so in a
And
sense...
good teachers probably, right?
Well, ultimately good teachers. But teachers who teach math can, in fact, be replaced by AI in some sense. They can't be replaced as teachers. But the technical knowledge, but what babies need is to be both loved and needed, and to feel that sense of security. Again, that when you find out Alexa isn't real, you still know mommy is real, and she loves you.
That's right.
And
you know,
it's both. It's not one or the other.
And I think we all agree that it's the right balance between the tools and the people. Ikhlaq, you thought a lot and also do research a lot about the right educational tools. Share your thoughts with us. How does the ideal world of educational tech looks like?
Okay, all right. So first, let me start. Is this on yet?
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so let me start by building on what Esther number 1 or Esther number 2? I don't know.
Esther D, Esther W.
What Esther W just said with a calculator. So, you know, the same thing is definitely happening now, except, you know, that thing that computes for you doesn't just add 5 plus 12 and give you a number. It can write a report. It can make a picture. What you can do with that computation, you can simulate. There's so much that computing resource can do that the original calculator couldn't do. But nothing otherwise has actually changed, because before you could use the calculator, you had to formulate the problem and figure out why you need the calculator. And after you got the number, you needed to interpret it, you needed to tell somebody, you need to get agreement with people. There's all kinds of other stuff before and after the computation. Now the computation is becoming like cheap and accessible and big, like you can do a lot, but that means the human part of what's the insight, what's the actual problem, what to do about it, the next step after that, that becomes where our role as people becomes more important, in fact, like we'll be more efficient. There'll be a whole conversation about like what skills you need to be good before and after. I won't take anything away from anyone's points there. Like, it'll be interesting. I want to just add 2 other points while I got the chance in a way. One is, I think the personalized tutor, I think that whole model is great. I think we're getting from 300 students to feeling like you've got one teacher just for you. But I think we've got to go beyond teachers to maybe your personal psychologist, your personal coach. There's more to the learning than just the academics. Silicon Valley actually they did a great job making tech tools. They haven't so far done as great a job as watching out for people's psychology and mental health while they use those tools. So maybe this is a chance there. And the last thing, a little bit more ominous or whatever, I think misinformation is going to be the next big challenge with, even in the education overall, using AI. The cost of a misinformation campaign used to be $20 million. Only a government could really afford to do one against a targeted population. It's about to change to 10,000. Anyone with any agenda, any random thing that they want to convince people is true, which is not true, they'll be able to do it. And so that goes back to those same skills, the critical thinking, the how do you know, all of that. I think we're really, I'm going to finish here. That's my kind of whole story. But not like, first of all, everything that we did in education isn't exactly bad before. Let me start with that. Like all this stuff we developed, putting the man on the moon, making ChatGPT, whatever, we did it with the educational model we already had. Okay, like we did it, okay. And along the way, the new tools come out, but people also change. So what will happen now is really a big question. The people are not the same because they use the tools, and the tools are different because they didn't exist before. That's where the real open question comes in.
But basically we're doing the same teaching and same education as we did 20 years ago, right? So how do we get that, change in the classroom, Esther?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest defense against misinformation is not better AI, but better people who are informed skeptics. And why are they sending me this stuff? Okay, thank you.
So you're right, but it's going to keep getting harder.
It is.
Because your agency as a person, how much of the decisions you make were implanted in you because your parents said something to you and you don't even realize it. And as that starts to seep in, like, I think it's a great idea.
Parents.
Think for yourself, but what is yourself?
But we need better parents, precisely.
But here's the thing about it. I mean, Esther, we've been trying to be better parents, right? Everybody here wants to be a better parent. Everybody who's trying to make money to feed their kids, to make a roof over their head, is trying to be a better parent.
I agree.
But they don't have either the capability or the time because they need to have, some level of security.
And so with luck, AI will help make everybody somewhat richer.
Well, I'm not sure it's
I
a
guess what I'm
question
really
of
saying
richer.
is don't stop trying.
No. I think,
hard.
oh, absolutely. Even in what we are building, we are not going to stop at a tutor, right? We want that interaction, the ability to have communication at the same time as you're learning online is such a big leap because now you can kind of address each other's, where am I? What do I need to do? We can do that.
So, I mean, here's a longtime teacher, Esther, and we all know, I mean, AI helps us to personalize the education, right? Do you see other real advantages? And what if you have an ideal scenario of this, classroom where you have AI and the human teacher, how would that look like?
So I agree with everything that everybody has said so far, but I just want to say the number one drive for teenagers, number one drive is independence. That's why all the parents are fighting with them, because they want to do what the teenager wants to do what they want to do, and the parents say, no, don't do it. So I think what AI offers is independence. ability to find information on your own. So as a teacher, what I do is let kids find out what the information that I think they need to learn, and then work together in teams and in groups. So I promote collaboration, I promote independent thinking, and then I say, so which one of these comes up with the right answer? Or which one comes up with the right idea? And I teach journalism, and I teach English. And so I am not teaching things that have a direct answer. It's not like math. You know, so when in journalism and in English, there are multiple answers. And so you can use AI to come up with multiple answers and then have kids talk about it. So instead of me running around the class, talking to group here, group there, group there, group, I've got the AI helping me. And so it makes me into a better teacher as long as I promote collaboration.
But can you, sorry, Ikhlaq, just a minute. The thing is, we then also need teachers who are different, right? Teachers who are willing to accept different solutions, different answers. Are we on that way, on that path?
That's the biggest barrier that I see. Teachers are the #1 barrier. And the question is, how can we help the teachers see that AI can be their friend and AI can make their life in the classroom easier? So, you know, I'd love some suggestions.
Yeah,
Any teachers here?
If I can, I only wanted to, it's not a separate comment, it's only a response or a helpful thing, which is, I think it would be interesting to know whether kids would actually believe or listen to which one more believable to them, their parents, their teacher, or the AI.
I would say they believe the AI.
Yeah, and they might take the word of the phone from the word of all these others, but I think it's worth figuring it out because that will tell you a lot. You know, you might think, oh, we just make an AI that looks like the teacher. Maybe they want to run from that. Maybe they want the AI that has the opposite view of the teacher. Who do they actually want to listen to?
No, but what's important is for kids to know that not everything that you read online or not everything that you hear from the AI is true. You have to think critically. And that's one of the things that I try to always teach was don't believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you hear. You have to think about it and then talk to your friends and understand whether this makes sense or not. But the problem with the teachers in general is they're teaching to a test and there's a specific answer. And so it makes education, I'm sorry to say, boring. You know, you don't want that to happen.
So let's fix education, Esther.
Very briefly, what kids really need to learn is not the answers, but how to ask questions. And to keep digging through, well, why? I mean, they do that when they're very young and they lose it so quickly. But
that's because they're afraid to make mistakes. And the whole system makes kids afraid to make mistakes. We need to encourage them to ask questions.
Okay, can I actually, so one of the things that when we've done this thing, we actually have a teacher's assistant. So the teacher is freed to be the mentor that you're talking about.
The person.
The person, right? So instead of wasting all their time on grading papers, tests, quizzes, you know, I took an exam and one question I got stuck in. I didn't know the answer. So I'm just going on and on and on and trying to figure out, come out of the test and, you know, hey, Esther, did you get that? What was the answer? If Esther got the same answer, I'm happy because we must be right. It would be 2 or 3 weeks before we get the results back. In that time, the learning moment's gone. What AI assistant can do is tell you where you're going wrong. It tells the teacher where the student's going wrong, how to intervene. We are seeing progression from entry level to students now making progress because they're able to think. Even things like prompting is such an art. You have to have clarity of thinking to be able to prompt and get those answers. So a lot of things are happening. We are going to get thinking students back, not just getting the right answer students back, the way we do it.
I don't
Right.
know if you could see this,
Question
but
and
it's
answer.
a large Q
Yeah.
Yep.
and a very small A.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what I liked about the video is the students who said, you know, the AI helps me to go through the steps.
Exactly.
It helps me to understand,
Yes.
helps me to find the path
Yes.
for myself. So that's,
We did deliberate work on this. It wasn't just that we took all the technologies that have come up and slapped them on. They were very deliberately, we had teachers coming in, going through the, I'm sorry? So, you know, it is about how you do that. It's not a quick fix, let's just slap on, you know, chatbot or whatever as the technologies come up. It is about the thoughtfulness, which is what Esther's talking about, that the human part, the critical thinking, the leading the students on to lead a very thoughtful life rather than, oh, I got the answer and I'm done.
so are the barriers low enough to, I mean, how many students, for instance, use, I mean, we know we
Yes.
said there's lots of AI around, but for instance, let's take
So,
your Flexi AI. How many students in
So
the
let me
US use
tell
it?
you, before the US, before 2012, when Obama came and said all K-12 schools will have internet connection and have computers, our usage was very low, but I persisted. I said, let's just keep building this. It's not about, you know, how many people are using it. It's about what we have to do. So since 2012 and 2015, where we trained teachers how to use these kind of technologies, we did webinars, we did lots of, you know, training for the teachers. Till 2015, our usage started growing 30% a year. We had, before COVID, about 39 million people use us. With COVID, we had about 50 plus million users. Now we're back down to this 40 million because of COVID's gone. But we get, since Flexi's come on, we get 50,000 questions from the students, which are not necessarily about, tell me how to add 2 plus 2. Right? Which is about what does it mean to 2 plus 2.
So it really, you know, comes to a nerve. Ikhlaq, before this session, we talked about, you know, sort of there is problems in education. You know, you even said education is broken, and you brought a really great example about
I mean, like everyone will know that. And there's one of them, to me, like the way it works right now is you learn some theory and then you do practice problems to apply it. And I think that part is actually broken. I think all the people who I know who understand theory really well, they understood the practical part first. They would break things apart. They didn't know exactly what it is, but they would figure it out at a very everyday practical level. Then when they went to school and they learned it through the math, they learned it through other ways. They have so many other ways to connect it. Now they really understand it. And you can take that further, and you can say, well, you can give you very applied problems and everything, but the practice should actually come first, then the theory, and then actually come back to the practice. Can AI help with that? I think AI can help, but not in the way that we're talking about right now. I think kind of a theme of this whole thing has been there's a subject, and then there's what the person needs to develop fully. And I think the subject can be taught a lot of ways, but how to develop the person fully, I think that's where the psychology, the mentoring the person, giving them those human skills, how to work with others, all the AI can actually coach you for those things while, what you learn from is the problem. You don't actually learn from the teacher. You learn from the problem, but the AI could be your support. Don't give up. Or why that person doesn't call me back. Well, what did you say to them that they might not be calling you back? Or, what could you do about it? They could be giving you a lot of non-technical help that would actually get you to that learning.
Yeah, and there we come back to Esther's big Q questions. So I'm so sorry, we have to finish here. And I would have a lot more questions for you, but thank you so much for your wonderful thoughts and for discussing this. Thank you for your interest, and keep it in touch.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to...